mean, you can see right now without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know the Dallas Cowboy fan is here, so I had to make sure he knew how much I hate this team.
I'm ready.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem saying it to his face.
Oh, I'm from Brooklyn.
Hey, you guys any...
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
It's the best time of the year. I don't know if there'll be snow, but have a cup of cheer.
Easily my favorite song of Christmas. Anything to do with having a cup of cheer or, kissing a girl, I'm all for it. I'm all in. I'm with Merle Ives there. And everybody, Merry Christmas this morning. Merry Christmas, guys. Merry Christmas to everybody out there watching that will be watching our great Sunday NFL show. So, guys, just to let you know, I got my eggnog here, right? I'm ready to go. And my wife's cookies, some ricotta cookies, and she's a cookie-making machine. So I'm ready to go with the show. And, of course, Sonia, who will be fined heavily for missing the beginning of the show, is in. And let's bring up Sonia.
Big time.
Yes.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Good morning. So let me tell you guys real quick. I am like mobile, and I tried to even message you, Mac, and I guess I was in such a bad area it would not go through. I've been trying to log on for 15 minutes, so please don't find me. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody.
Sonia, since it is Christmas season, I got to tell you this. Excuses build bridges to nowhere. You still get
there. You go. All right. So
you gave me an idea to write a book. All the players' excuses that they've given coaches over the years. There's a lot of good ones. I'm sure.
Trust me. With Coach Landry and Jimmy Johnson, those excuses didn't work. You better. He left Michael Irvin on a tarmac when we were going to Minnesota because he was late.
I can't believe I'm being roasted as soon as I come in on Christmas Eve.
Yes. Well, the show is always in going in one direction, Sonia, and that's normally not straight up. So that's how we play the game here. So welcome, Jack. Jack has been gone from the show Friday and Saturday. Doc filled in, did a good job for him. He's back the Sunday show. And, we got the whole crew here. So let's get started. Thursday night, the Las Vegas Raiders went ahead and they put it on New Orleans early. Rams. So you are correct. The Los LAV. Right. I'm thinking Los Angeles Raiders. But anyway, the Las Vegas Raiders, they got out quick. And the Raiders, the New Orleans Saints made a kind of a comeback. Not enough. And it was a complete team effort, right, Jim? I mean, if you think about it, you had Stafford played well. You had, and there goes Sonia. You had Stafford played well. You had the running back run the ball well. Nuka with a huge game, and Robinson, even Robinson from the Ravens came over, made some key catches. Jim.
Yeah, well, the thing with Los Angeles is playing well now. The only game they've lost is obviously the 49ers. But New Orleans is an interesting team. I really believe that Carr is similar to Kirk Cousins. They do just enough with stats to get you excited, but they don't win games. They don't win big games.
Carr's not as good as Kirk Cousins. It should be pointed out. And I got to hold Mac accountable. Mac thought Carr was an elite quarterback for a while. I was thrilled the Jets didn't sign him. Not that it's mattered to this point. But, Jim, and you got to be held accountable. You said the LA Rams, they mortgaged their future to just win a Super Bowl.
And they did.
They didn't make the playoffs last year. They might make the playoffs this year. 1 year removed.
What did you say, Mike?
Super Bowl.
Mike, and they'll probably be a one and done.
Well, I would say this. I would say that the Rams are probably the best wild card team in the NFC right now. Good morning to Keith. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Rick. Glad to have you on. So Keith, we're starting off talking. We're going to start talking about last night's games. Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh demolishes Cincinnati coming in, and I'm not going to call Jack out because we was going to pick Cincinnati. But anyway, last night. But anyway,
I got lucky. They would have been one of my picks. I got lucky. I'll take the luck. I'll take the ball bouncing the right way.
I think we count that pick myself.
I do too.
Yes, yeah. Well, we might. Somebody's got to throw the red flag and challenge it, and then I'll make a decision. But anyway, so the Pittsburgh. I mean, that looked like the Steelers to me. They're throwing the ball deep. They're running the ball. The defense plays like they're supposed to play, and the Steelers are still alive. And Cincinnati Browning. He threw 3 interceptions, which of course you're going to lose if you throw 3 interceptions normally. What do you guys think? Start with Jim. Is this the real Pittsburgh Steelers team now? I mean, Rudolph comes in, saves the day. I still can they win the playoff? Can they win a playoff game? Can they get?
I don't think so, but Tomlin is amazing. I mean, I thought he was dead in the water. Now they're talking about giving him an extension. I mean, the guy is amazing. And you got to give him credit for motivating. Everybody was on Pickens, and Pickens has 192 yards receptions. And I mean, it's incredible what he does. He has something about him. Some people have that.
Jack, I mean, all of a sudden it's one game and everybody's praising Tomlin, praising Pickens. I mean, I don't think this problem is gone. I think Pickens is a very talented wide receiver, but his attitude is going to be the downfall of him. And I still don't know if Tomlin's going to be there at the end of the year or not.
Tomlin will be there if he wants to be there. 18 winning seasons in a row. He's a phenomenal coach. They hit a bad patch the last 3 games. If they win one of their next 2, they have winning season again. They keep the streak going. Mason Rudolph's an interesting story. The idea that Coach Tomlin could get him to stay at Pittsburgh as a 3rd-string quarterback when he could have been a prime backup elsewhere says a lot for the Steeler program.
Sonia, I mean, Jack's saying that, this Tomlin is good if he has a winning season again. He's had a bunch of winning seasons back to back. They're celebrating that they were over 500. They haven't won a playoff game. They haven't been to the Super Bowl. Is that good enough to be a Steeler head coach?
Well, in my opinion, of course, which never matters really in NFL, I don't think so. But Pittsburgh has a reputation of not releasing their coaches. They are very loyal to the coaches that they have. And Tomlin has been there through some really seesaw seasons, so to speak, up and down, and really is above 500 worth celebrating if your entire division is looking better than 500, unless you are my division, the NFC South, in which a 500 would be worth celebrating. But I think they capitalized on those errors last night. The Browning finally showed who he was. And it showed, and I lost my pick-ems because I bet on the Bengals, and that was a huge mistake. But I think that at a minimum, he is going to remain on the warm seat because they still don't have me convinced this is still not the Pittsburgh team that we've seen with Roethlisberger, and I feel like they're still trying to find their niche in the quarterback.
I like that term, warm seat. We hear about the hot seat. How many coaches are the warm seat?
It's true. Keith, here we have 2 of the most successful coaches in the last 10 years, 15 years, really. You've got Bill Belichick, and now you got Mike Tomlin. And fans before last night, anyway, I know fans in Pittsburgh were talking about maybe Tomlin's reign is over, and I know the New England Patriots know that it's over for Bill Belichick, I would think.
Yeah, to play up what Sonia said. I mean, again, one of the most remarkable records in football I don't know whether it's a record, but in today's game to have 3 coaches in 53 or 4 years is amazing. Mm-hmm. It's just not heard of. And Tomlin has been through some up and downs, but so is Bill Cowher. So is actually Chuck Noll at the end of his career. They didn't have good teams. So they are very loyal to their coaches. I think he stays unless he wants to leave. And there's talk that they may work out a deal where he can go to Carolina or Washington, which is closer to his home. And he may want a fresh start, which I think they will accommodate. They will accommodate if that's what he wants. So I think he can very well stay too. And he is a consistent guy. I mean, this team is, they're not winning Super Bowls every year.
And I think his daughter has just got a scholarship somewhere in the South.
Yeah, in Virginia, I think so.
I think it was Virginia. I think it was Virginia.
I think so too.
So
And by the way,
the Buffalo Bill. Go ahead,
How
go
bad
ahead.
are the other two quarterbacks when Mason Rudolph can come in and run that offense efficiently? He probably should have been playing all along. He's probably the best quarterback on that roster, which says a lot about their quarterback room. Right?
We don't know. But Pickett, the jury is still out.
Yeah,
He'll
the jury
make less mistakes. He'll make less
It can't be out
mistakes.
too long. It can't be out too long, Jack. They'll call it a mistrial. So let's get to the Buffalo, the Charger game, right? Buffalo squeezes by the Chargers without Herbert. You got Josh Allen. I think he ran for 2 touchdowns. You had their running back Cook run for 70 yards, and really Davis had 4 receptions for 130 yards. Stick, the quarterback, threw for 215 yards, and he ran for a touchdown. To me, Buffalo is played down to its competition last night. They have a habit of doing that, and you can't do that if you're going to be a playoff team. But they are alive. They do have their own destiny in their hands, Jim. So your Buffalo Bills
I
are
disagree
right
with
now.
you. Like I said, and I know Jack doesn't agree with me. That game started for Buffalo at 10:15 at night, and it makes a difference. You guys don't realize your body clock hurts you when you got to go all the way to the West Coast. I give Buffalo kudos for winning because if you notice, they started off slow, and as the game progresses, they got better. But you're playing at something like 1 o'clock at night. And
Wait, Jim, Jim. The game was like 8 o'clock on the East Coast here, so that's when
No, it
we're
wasn't.
starting for Buffalo.
No, it wasn't. It was 3 hours. There's a 3 hours difference. It was.
I know, but it would have been 5 o'clock on the West Coast. And
Yes,
8
but
o'clock
it
on the
does. Your
East
body doesn't think like that, Jack. Your body thinks that it's 8, 9 o'clock. You see what you understand? And it's hard. It's hard on the body.
Listen, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. The Chargers didn't have their starting quarterback, and they had a new coach in there, and I think that's why the Chargers play so
That coach
good.
is really good, Mac.
I think whenever the head coach leaves and gets fired or whatever, it seems like in the case with Antonio Pierce that the team plays better the following week. Sonia.
And that's a good coach. I spent some time when Anthony Lynn was the head coach, and he was the D-line coach. And he is a very, very good coach.
So, Sonia, what do you think?
I was literally just thinking, like, should I chime in now or wait? About that idea. Sometimes I feel like the team kind of rallies around themselves when there's no leader. And when it's kind of like the mentality when you're the big sister or the big brother, mom and dad is away. You kind of man up or woman up to get it done because you want to make them proud. You want to show them that you can hold the household down while they're out. And it's the same thing with a team. You know, everybody's counting them out. They've lost their leader. They've lost their coach. They're center stage, and they kind of want to go into that whole show and prove moment where we don't need anybody to kind of be against us. We got ourselves. We got our back. And so I think that's what's going on with Las Vegas right now. Now, I will say that Antonio Pierce is, in my opinion, a good coach, and I hope they give him an actual shot with taking the reins of that organization.
Keith, let's talk about that a little bit. The Chargers, the Raiders. They both. Jim says I don't know. Jim said he coached with him or played with him. I think he's coached with him. Are they going to get high-profile coaches? Most teams go out and get a high-profile coach if they're available. If there is a Belichick available, if there is if there is a Tomlin available, they're not going to go to the coach that's not as well known or doesn't have that kind of reputation yet.
Or Jim Harbaugh, don't forget to throw him in the mix for these jobs. The problem is that I agree, and they should get an established coach in here because they failed miserably with a guy who had no track record. And he showed he really wasn't ready to be a head coach with his game management and all that with Staley. But the Chargers are also not known for spending a lot of money either, which was going to hinder them in this search. And they may look to cheat themselves out, which will cheat this team and at the fans. I just feel bad for the Chargers. they don't have an identity. They don't belong in LA. They don't have a fan base in LA. I mean, there's more visiting fans in the stadium than there are Charger fans most of the time. They'd be better off moving back to San Diego and rebooting things there, but that's probably never going to happen. I would bring in an established coach. There's talent on both sides of the football here.
But
right?
what established coach is available? That's the question you have.
Well, yeah. I mean, again, you're looking at
Well,
the name.
I got one coach, but had he not started his lawsuit because he didn't get the New York Giant head coaching job, Brian Flores, he'd definitely be a head coach in the NFL. Now, doing a good job is the Vikings defensive coordinator, but he kind of ruined it for himself in a way because he didn't get the Giant job. That was his dream job. So,
but I also
he'll get interviews. I think he'll get interviews, though.
Yeah, but if I remember, you said there are trends right now, and the most successful coaches in the NFL are right now predominantly offensive coaches. I think you said that last week, Keith.
Did I say that? I may have. I think I was talking about the Patriots going with another defensive coach if Belichick left and Mayo, and they may want to go a different direction. I still think Mayo will be the guy there. I think I would be going towards defensive guys to kind of, slow down the offenses a little bit. But, it's a copycat league. So whoever's successful is what they're going to go with. Yeah. The defensive coaches that have gotten hired recently have not done all that well. The guy in Chicago
they were talking about McDaniels at Miami.
Yeah, McDaniel. Yeah.
And they said that they paired him with a very good defensive coach, and the reason is because he had the offensive expertise, but he needed somebody on defense that could understood how to play defense in the NFL.
Yeah, either way, you got to have a strong guy. You got to rely on him on the other side of the football, whether you're a defensive guy or an offensive guy.
That's basically what the Cowboys did with Dan Quinn.
Yeah, absolutely. Great move.
McCarthy work on the offense.
And he's another guy. He'll throw his name in for the Charger job too, because he's going to get a bunch of interviews.
As long as Quinn isn't showing, setting up the defense against Buffalo, that would be great.
Go ahead. Giants in the bell right now.
I think Dan Quinn really redeemed himself coming from that head coach position in Atlanta, the up and down roller coaster he went through with them, and he's really come out. At first, it looked a little sketchy with him as DC and Dallas, but looks like he's finally found his footing.
Just don't give him 25-point leads in the third quarter with 5 minutes left. That's all.
Exactly.
I'll leave it at that. You guys figure out what I'm talking.
So Keith, let's get to the college football. Of course, some of the bowl games have been being played, and we all remember the days when the bowl games were everything when it came to college football. Today, not so much. You got the championship, and the bowl games are for everybody that has a 500 or even below record to play in. I mean, it's good. It's good. It's good for the college kids to get out there and win a bowl if they want to go to a bowl. But the significance of them has dropped so far. I mean, I don't think a lot of people are even watching them anymore, except for the kids that go to that school.
People don't watch it. The bowl games are important for one reason. It gives the kids the programs. It's good for the programs because the kids get to practice an extra 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it is, which is good for the staffs and the program. But from a watching standpoint, it's just some of these games are just unwatchable. I mean, I got a bunch of 6-6 teams. I got a 5-7 Minnesota team playing in a bowl game next week. Wow. I mean, because you don't have enough teams to fill in. There aren't enough bowl eligible teams to fill all the bowl spots. There's 42 bowls, and we could do it about probably 18 in my mind.
Hey, Keith, I thought that James Madison couldn't go to a bowl game this year.
They could not, but because there weren't enough bowl eligible teams, they made an exception and put them in. I'm not sure what bowl they're playing without looking.
I wasn't in. They played Air Force, correct?
Oh yes, they played yesterday, right? In the military bowl, yes.
Military bowl,
yeah, and they lost to our Air Force yesterday. But good for them. I'm glad they got in. It's one of the stupidest rules the NCAA has is. You're coming from theoretically a weaker starting point than anybody else should have, and you're going to be eliminated from postseason play, even in your conference. for 3 seasons. That makes no sense.
So Keith, we look at the bowl games coming up. Of course, you still got Florida State, who half of the team, as you pointed out, Friday has left, and they're playing against Georgia. You still got Oregon playing. You still got Ohio State playing. So there are some games out there that they're going to be watching. Some of the bowl games they'll be watching.
Yeah, I'm very interested in the Arizona Oklahoma game, by the way, as well. I think that'll be a really good bowl game. That's coming up next Thursday or Friday, I think. So I like that game a lot too. Right. It'll be fun.
So Jack's huge fan is just going. So I muted you for a minute, Jack. So you were ready to talk. At first, I thought we would be invaded, but anyway, we're not, folks. It's just Jack's big fan he has there in Florida. I don't blame him. I'd have a big fan now too. So anyway, Keith, let's talk a little bit about the NIL, the Porter transfer. I mean, I think if I read right that Colorado is third to a couple of the other big teams. And now they can make a team within a year instead of going out and recruiting like they do at Alabama so well, and they're still doing well. But you can make a team now in 1-2 years.
Well, I mean, they did it last year. They turned over like 70 roster spots last year. And it didn't, everybody thought it was going to be great in the beginning, but it turned out to be pretty much what we thought it would be at the end. They've got some kids that have entered the portal as well, though, in Colorado and decided to move on. Everybody does. There's I don't know. There's like, I want to say 1,500 or 2,000 kids in the portal right now. It's crazy.
Right. Only a small percentage of them get scholarships at another school.
That's true too. And they leave for different reasons, playing time, maybe NIL money, maybe, to improve their draft stock. That's why Sam Hartman stayed and went to Notre Dame, and it didn't help him at all, except for maybe his pocketbook. Because he got more money from Notre Dame than he would have got, as a day 3 or 4 pick in the NFL draft. But the transfer portal, one of the things I have a problem with, and some kids are staying. I've noticed yesterday, there are kids that have entered the portal and still playing. The kid from Northwestern last night played against Utah, played a great game, the quarterback. His name is eluding me at the moment, but he played really well. He's in the portal and still played in his bowl game, which is unusual, right? I'm okay. I get it. I told you Friday, Mac, that I've loosened my stance on the portal and whatnot, because how do I hold it against the kids when the coaches aren't accountable to stick around and have any loyalty? Now the programs don't have any loyalty to the fan base, the players, other people in their conference that they played with for 100 years. So why should the kids have to stick around?
And I understand what you're saying, but my concern, Keith, is the high school recruits. Unless you're a 5 or 4-star, Colorado only had 5 high school recruits.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you, like you said, you're getting mercenaries basically now in college football? They just go where the money's at.
Well, and again, you got the other thing we haven't even talked about that really plays into all this too is the new redshirt rules and some of the other rules where they can be there 5, 6, 7 years. Kids are there.
Yeah, well, Nick,
25 and 26-year-old kids playing in these bowl games.
Some kickers 35 to 40. But anyway, Keith,
they start later though.
Yeah, they can stay a lot later there. So let's talk a little bit. Well, quick note: Archman is making more money than professional quarterbacks playing second string, which is very interesting to me. I don't even know if I'd leave college. I just stay there and play for as long as I could.
Well, that's one of the things I was referring to. If you're not going to be a day 1 pick, you might want to think about staying in school. If you get more money.
When you drives a Ferrari.
I was actually just talking about the difference in that, like, what a difference years make, because with the NIL deals, some of those players, like he was saying, are not going to be walk-on number ones, and so they're just getting their coins while they're in college. A good example is Stetson Bennett here at UGA, who had, I believe, at the end of the year, 6 years, especially with the COVID add-on. And then he got into the league, and now he's out in some type of rehab because of some personal issues he dealt with. But he got his coins, so to speak, while he was in the college arena. And it's once you kind of go in the league and come out, look at Johnny Manziel, you don't always be the same once you come in and then have to make an exit like that. I mean, he's in the Canadian League now and got a couple of championships over there, but for the NFL, it's totally different. So yeah.
I give Stetson Bennett credit for sticking it out in Georgia, though, man, because they tried to replace him every single year he was there. So.
Yeah, I mean, he was almost 30 by the time he got out of here. I think Art was calling him for some discounts.
So Keith,
hey, let's no age discussions on this show.
You do your picks, and I'll hold up the deflate ball for the kickers the Patriots had.
I have an interesting thought on that, by the way. All right, here's my picks quickly. Favorites, okay. Lions. I keep going with teams that are kicking my butt. I can't believe it. Lions.
Yes.
Green Bay.
Yes.
San Francisco.
Ooh.
That line's gone up by a lot from where Max got it. Jags.
Wow, too bad. Jags, you're upset. All right, yeah. And
Jaguars are right.
Yes, the starting quarterback is playing. Trevor Lawrence is playing, just to let you all know. So he's ready to go this week. All right, Keith, we'll let you go. Before I let you go, one quick thing. Patriots, Denver. All right,
I got to make a comment.
Denver. You got to make a comment.
Go ahead. Ask me what you want. I'll get my
Patriots
comment.
in Denver. What can the Patriots do to beat Denver, and will they beat Denver?
I mean, Hunter Henry's out now. I mean. I don't think it's going to be very difficult. It's a tough place to play anyway. Look at I don't see they win this game. I think I'd like to see them keep it competitive like they have for most of the year. I mean, they have not really gotten blown out more than a couple of times. Keep fighting, keep playing hard, keep the air in the footballs, and we'll be happy. Listen, I think it's very interesting how when the NFL's in control of the footballs and they lose air, it's only natural because when it's cold, air comes out of footballs. Whoever knew? I had to watch Bill Belichick talk for 3 hours about this.
Oh my goodness!
And that's their conclusion is the same one he came to in his whole scientific research.
Excuses.
Right, so there you go.
Once again, guys.
Again.
Don't let the air out of football. Listen, I always say you can be involved in murders and you can beat women and you can do anything else in the NFL, but don't let the air out of footballs because they're going to come after you.
That's right. And don't sneak into somebody else's practice and take from them.
Right.
Yeah, recording sidelines.
Right, and stay away from massage parlors. That's one thing we've learned.
Careful now. Careful.
All right.
Especially in Florida.
Yes. All right, Keith. Thank you, Keith.
Merry Christmas, Keith.
Sports. Merry Christmas, Keith. Thanks for coming in again, as you always do, my friend.
Merry Christmas, all you guys. Have a great one.
All right.
You too. So there you go, folks. Keith Angle, as he explains the way that the deflated footballs, and he blames the NFL for the Patriots again cheating. So I don't know. So Jack, how you doing over there, Jack? You look tired.
Good. I don't know why I got muted. I wasn't planning on saying anything anyway.
I missed you, Jack. Don't let him mute you.
Mac wanted to talk about the college playoffs on, on NFL day, game day. So Mac's timing's a little off.
It's called the Big Football Show, Jack, and there's been college football games being played all week. So we got to get our college football there.
A question about this, what you didn't mention about the Charger-Bill game. There's a lot of backlash because most people didn't get to see the game. It was the one game a year that was on the Peacock. You had to subscribe. Yes. Now, a week ago, I'm in Florida now. In New York, I subscribed to the NFL Network, but I hadn't been subscribing in Florida for my cable outlet. But I called up and I subscribed because I could see the games that day. They had 3 games, so it was worth it to me. And I could cancel at any time after that. But the Peacock, I refused to subscribe. I didn't see the game. I'll be honest, I didn't see the Charger-Bill game. I was one of the people that was a little disgusted. They held that game out there. They gave it a big build-up, like they were going to air it on NBC, and then they kind of pulled
I agree. I agree with you, Jack.
I was disappointed.
Well,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I literally on my show, All Things Football from a Lady's Perspective, on Wednesday, it looked like they were going to show it on NBC. Like like all the networks look like they were going to be showing it. Then you go on to it on direct at least, and it says, oh, we're in this battle with blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to be honest, I saw it on Peacock, but only because I subscribed to Peacock so I could watch The Office, because The Office is like my favorite show. And so you can watch the super seasons on that. But Jack is right. Like, okay, NFL Network right now is only $39 because it's the end of the season. Next week, I guess it'll be $10. But that it's such a mess that the NFL and all these networks, every single season, we're having this issue where we're almost having to steal cable, so to speak, to watch these games.
You're right.
So Jack thought I forgot about talking about it, but I didn't. Of course, we saved the big stories for our guests right here. Sports Scope, only a big story chaser in his mobile sports van, tracing sports across the country. Robert Butler, and of course, right now, as you see, he's in. I think that's New York City. He's in right now.
No, it's Nashville. Yeah, it's always sunny here, you know.
Yes, true, and you know. Sonia's changing her back room. I saw her just a minute ago in Pag's living room. I don't know how she did that. I know.
Yeah, it's very similar to the StreamYard background.
You don't give Mac Robert Butler credit ever. He's very punctual. He comes in on time. Very professional. Unlike Pag, who just staggers into this show whenever he wants. And he's
loud. He's always loud.
No discipline on this show. No discipline at all. That's why you didn't go up to the NFL coaching level.
Merry Christmas.
You didn't
Merry Christmas.
The team.
Thank you for pointing out my flaws, Jack. Merry Christmas to you, Robert. Glad you could make it in. So, Robert, let's start with what they're talking about. Okay, you came in, they're talking about Peacock. You had to pay to go watch it. I didn't watch it. I know a lot of fans probably didn't watch it because they feel some kind of way. But they are buying NFL Network. They are buying the Red Zone or whatever the heck it is out there anyway. So people are buying things that we used to get for free. All you have to do is turn to halftime to get all the highlights. We're so impatient today that we got to do things that we end up spending money for. So Peacock to me is the test balloon for the NFL. Are we going to start paying for playoff games? Are we going to start paying for the Super Bowl?
That is
Robert,
true.
If it's successful, why not? Why wouldn't they do that?
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. It's diluting the product because you don't want your viewer to keep having to scramble for what we used to call appointment TV, 1:00 Eastern on Sunday from the second week of September all the way to early January, or 4:05 Eastern or 4:25 Eastern. Once you get away from appointment TV, you're going to lose audience. I guess they feel like they're like a drug dealer. The networks and ownership and the league as a whole, that we're so addicted that we're going to chase and chase and chase. And I feel like they probably should consolidate a little bit. As a viewer, I don't like it. I didn't watch the Peacock, and I have a lot of these things. I have Amazon. Remember, we got Amazon on Thursday night. It's getting, that's the first one I did. I followed it on my phone, play by play through Gamecast, but it's becoming a problem, and I hope the league executives kind of figure this thing out.
Man, Rob, you got to get a life if you followed that game play by play, and
only if you have prop bets on it.
There's something else. You don't have to watch the Buffalo LA Charger game play by play.
Well,
if you have a prop bet on it, you do that. If you don't, those people were out shopping last night.
I got you.
Yeah.
Robert's a fantasy football guy. He's watching every game, every stat, every play. Yeah, that's right. So, Robert, let's talk a little bit about, early in the week, everybody's jumping on Pickett because of his attitude. He wasn't going to tackle the guy that intercepted the ball. He ran the other way. He wasn't going to make a block. Tomlin comes out and says, I don't know what's going on. I don't have any answers. And for now, the critics just silence a little bit. One game, and that's the way it works here today, right? It's what happens yesterday that matters more than what happened a week ago. To me, it matters a lot what happened a week ago. When the guy's not going to block or he's not going to tackle, he's afraid of getting hurt. That's a problem that's going to be with you throughout his time in Pittsburgh. I know if Bill Connor was a coach, his butt would have been sitting on the bench right then. He probably wouldn't have played this week to make an example out of him. And Tomlin didn't do that. So what's going on in Pittsburgh, Robert? Do you have any other things? What are your thoughts? Let's put it that way.
Well, I think from what I hear and read, this is just the sentiment. I don't know if this is fact, but he does not have a hand in the drafting. Pittsburgh has their own little department for that, and they have been known to bring in questionable character guys at wide receiver. I think we talked about this last week. Guys like Chase Claypool, Antonio Brown, but they've hit. A lot of them have hit talent-wise. Pickens was one of those players. Deontay Johnson was one of those players. A lot of them have hit from the talent perspective, and I'm sure that he has been frustrated more than we know, and he lets on because he's so cool under fire and at the podium, Tomlin, that I bet he is. If he had it to do over, he wouldn't want to bring in some of these guys. Everybody from Pittsburgh should be like Hines Ward, block way downfield. But we know that's not going to be the case anywhere. I mean, a lot of teams miss on wide receivers. So, there's been a lot of talks. Maybe he's kind of burnt out at Tomlin's burnt out there with coaching. Maybe he should change scenery, kind of like an Andy Reid, and go out and maybe a team like an LA Chargers or somebody. I'm just throwing them out as an example. I'm not saying that specifically. Because of things like this, that these questionable players are being brought in by the organization.
So Tua comes on stage and he says he stands there for 15 minutes saying he doesn't care what anybody thinks about him. So 15 minutes later, I would imagine if you're going to stay 15 minutes, you don't care. You do care what people are saying about you, that you're not as good as some of the other NFL quarterbacks because you have the cheetah, you have Waddle, you have, a good running game. And to me, I mean, you could say that about any team. Any quarterback needs good receivers to be really successful. Miami just happens to have two of the best in the league right now. So, the coach comes out and says, I tell my players to tell the media F off respectfully, so everybody kind of laughed at that. But it does sound to me like Tua is upset about what the people think about him as a quarterback there.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think he's being portrayed. He thinks that he's being portrayed as a nice, passive guy. And he's trying to say that one former, I think it was Ryan Clark's called him fat back in the summertime. And he's like, hey, keep your name out of my. So it's like he's a little sensitive to it. But the truth of the matter is, I was listening to something that Deion Sanders said. It's a great quote. Listen, if you don't make me, you can't break me. He's talking about why do I as a player care what people think? If I thought about what people think, I would never even be here as a player. I have to change those opinions. I think he's kind of adapting. He's trying to signal that type of response because he is a nice guy and he is somewhat passive. And he's not a big rah-rah guy per se with Tua. But yeah, but like you said, they always hear. They say they don't hear it, but they really do.
Tua is a trained killer. He does. I'm serious. I mean, passes. He is one of the best deep ball passers in the NFL. Yeah. And I know he has Tyreek Hill. I know he has Jalen Waddle. But
he's trying to bring Tua's trying to bring his brother into the league. You guys heard about that?
Yeah. Yeah, from Maryland. I think he's
not playing
he declared. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess, Jack, did you want to say something?
And on Tua.
Yeah, people keep changing their tune week to week. It wasn't long ago where all we heard was what a mistake the Dolphins made not drafting Justin Herbert, who went number 6 and Tua went number 5 in the draft. That's all we heard. And now if they had a chance to do a do-over again, the Dolphins still would probably stick with Tua number 5, and pick him ahead of Herbert. We heard it about Josh Allen earlier this year. What's wrong with Josh Allen? And now Josh Allen's a potential MVP candidate.
Yeah. But they're doing that with all. Jalen Hurts. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
They're upset with Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
That is crazy. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL.
and he was physically sick. Like I don't know what it's like, but Jim, you would know, to play physically sick, especially with a viral infection. And he looked worn when they showed him, like taking a separate plane and everything. But he ran for his first touchdown. Like he gave it his all.
Everything he had. And
everything he had, and then they're mad at him.
Yeah, there was a report that Mac that Jalen is not vocal enough. He lacks those leadership skills, and it's hard to be rah when you got the flu like that. You know,
exactly.
It's hard to stand up straight.
well, since you brought up rah, let's talk about Tom Brady. He's saying who his MVP would be. Christian McCaffrey, not a quarterback. And, you know, I call it now the MVQ, the most valuable quarterback. It's not the MVP anymore. So to me, there are a lot of players out there that should be considered. I would love to see a quarterback not get the award this year. I'd love to see, I don't care who it is, McCaffrey. You could put Deebo Samuels in there if you want. You can put J.J. Watts, Myles Garrett. You could put the offensive tackle from San Francisco. Put a tackle in there. What the hell? I mean,
J.J. Watt, you mentioned.
Yeah.
Well, J.J.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
MJ. Okay.
Yeah. All I was going to say was if the Ravens win today, Lamar Jackson will be in that MVP.
Yeah, he could potentially get his second if they play on Christmas night. This is going to come down to the last few counting Chads on the MVP this year. You know, it's 1 week you think it's Tyreek. Now, if Tyreek Hill comes back today and plays well, you see how bad they played without him in the Tennessee game. Now, of course, you know, they shut the Jets out the week after that, but it's wide open, folks. I mean, a lot of people still pushing for Brock Purdy, and he's got some really good stats, by the way.
Yes. We should really wait till after the Super Bowl to decide who the MVP is. Hypothetically, if the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl with their wide receivers they have, how could it not be Patrick Mahomes?
Well, it's a regular
they already
season
have
award.
They already have an MVP for the Super Bowl, Jack. There is an MVP for the Super Bowl. Why are we going to give him an MVP for the regular season? This is the regular season award. So, I mean, I thought Patrick Mahomes has enough MVP can. So
the season ends after the Super Bowl.
Share the award.
Oh, okay.
Let's get a defense. Let's get somebody else in there. That's all I'm saying. Robert, the NFL Pro Bowl. Yeah, let's do that. The NFL Pro Bowl has now included the tug of war competition. Now, I don't know if you're old enough to remember this, but there used to be a show on called the Battle of the Network Stars, when Howard Cosell used to do the commentary.
Superstars,
and they used to do swimming, the tug of war, and the obstacle course. This to me is what it's turning into, the Battle of the Network Stars. And all we need is, maybe Jack could do commentary because he does sound like Cosell a little bit. Let him do commentary on it, and include the female reporters, let's make it equal for everybody. Anybody that's a star in the NFL, put him in there and let's have at it, Robert. What do you think?
Yeah, growing up, we used to have a field day. Did y'all have field day?
I had field day.
I love field day.
Yeah, me too. I always won, though.
You remind me. I
never won tug of war, man. I've always wanted to win a tug of war.
I had a dog once I played tug of war with. And the dog would win.
You had dodgeball. Remember dodgeball?
Dodgeball, the 50-yard dash. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Yes, going back to your question, yeah, I think it's a little cheesy and over the top. They're throwing stuff against the wall and see if it'll stick. We're buying almost everything the NFL's selling. Yeah, kind of wish the audience would reject some of this stuff, but
so I don't think it matters if the audience rejects it or not. I mean, I think they're just going to put it on like that anyway. It's it's just I don't think
we keep buying the Pro Bowl. I haven't watched one in 15 years.
Oh, I neither buy and I don't buy the Pro Bowl, but it comes on anyway. See,
I'm just saying, as far as watching it,
you should,
Mac,
you should put that on pay-per-view. See what happens with that.
No, God, no. I'm just saying, as far as viewership, buying it like buying into, not actually physical. Oh my God. You really have to be addicted to order that on the Pro Bowl. That's just...
Look at Sonya can watch that with The Office and whatever else she watches over there on Peacock.
I think the Pro Bowl next year is on February 4th or the honors. Or
it's always before the Super Bowl now.
So let me just let you guys know my birthday is 2424. I will not be watching no Pro Bowl or anything affiliated with none of that. And it is on a Sunday too, I think. So yeah, I guess we'll all be together wherever I am. I'll have to just
it's not gonna be on in the background.
Guys, isn't that the hardest week of the year as far as football goes? The week before the Super Bowl, you got no games, it's boring, nothing's going on. That's a tough week.
That is true.
You got a good point, Jack.
You got the Senior Bowl, Jack. And you really got to be a diehard to watch the Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
But for those like this, I watch a little bit of it.
I played it. It was an interesting week in the Senior Bowl.
Yeah. You played it.
Jack refuses. Nice. Jack refuses to watch college football. That's for something
No, I'll watch the big games. I mean, I don't want to. You take college football during the regular season. It's on every channel. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Yeah. Once in a while, I like to watch a low-level game, a team with a 4-5 record against a team with a 3-6 record. And while a big game is going on, I'm watching them. And who watches those low-level games? I mean, basically just the players' families and the school alumni.
Yeah, those are on this weekend, I know.
Yes, there you go. Yeah, a lot of those are on this weekend.
Robert, Jim, if you had to do it over, you'd probably go to a big major university, not Arizona.
I did go to a big Arizona State. What are you talking about, Jack?
Throwing all kinds of shade there.
We beat Oklahoma in the bowl game. I was the MVP.
Yeah.
Jim, Community College of Colorado is not a big school. I'm sorry to tell you that. Yeah. That's not a big school. So,
yeah, it isn't, because I went to Arizona State.
You did.
I went to those lower bowls, guys. Yeah.
Oklahoma had Marcus Dupree.
And he got an award, you guys, at Arizona State. He got inducted to the Hall of Fame there. Jim.
Who did?
I'm in the Hall of Fame.
Stop being his publicist, okay? He can take care of him.
This is award, MVP.
Hey, you look like a Heisman, man.
You got his name prop. That looks like the trophy I got at football camp when I was 10 years old, just to let you know. Robert, let's push on to Tommy Cutlets with his trademark. He wants to make some money off his name there. Don't blame him. He's not making a lot of money as it is. So, hey, good for him, right?
Yeah, you know what? I was a little bit – it was a little off-putting to me at the beginning. I mean, you're trying to help this team out, and you're just trying to make your way. Now he's got all these trademarks. There was a story that he stood up a pizzeria after he won a Green Bay Monday night game. It's $10,000. Now it's $20,000. Then he corrects that and supposedly fires somebody on his marketing team. All that being said, Mac, like you said, not everybody can have a Tom Brady drawn out 15, 20-year Peyton Manning type of career. The coaches know how many hours you're on your tablet, and as long as you're making your meetings and making your throws and you're a good time manager, I'm okay with it. At the end of the day, there's some kind of cooking commercial with him and his mom on. I saw online the other day. It's pretty cheesy, but hey, listen, man, more power to you. Like you said, he's not making any money. He's lucky to be there. He's Jeremy Lin right now.
I made that comparison before, Robert, and you are
correct. He's not even at that status, guys. I mean, he should really be playing behind Tyrod Taylor. Good for him if he could make some quick money, and he better make it quick because the opportunities are not going to be there by next year.
Yeah, he'll probably be in another league next year, But then again, he may have his own network going. You never know.
Rick, I missed all your comments here. My screen was messed up, so you're way. I got comments from you from way back. Yes, we are making our picks this week. Robert, let's talk a little bit about the USFL, XFL, new league. 4 teams have dropped out. I think there's only a total of 8 teams now in the league, or combined 1 to 4 in each division. Is this gonna make it? I mean, is this league gonna be, is this league gonna be around for another couple of years?
Yeah, both leagues had to drop 4 teams. Yeah, the USFL and the XFL, the remake of that, they both had to drop 4 teams. They pushed back. I like what they did. They pushed back the start date. It used to be in like February. Now it's March 30th. The playoffs will go into June, which I think is better. Kind of give the viewership a little bit of a break there after the Super Bowl. Listen, folks, it's a big business starting a football league. Even if you got the deepest of deepest pockets, you're trying to change viewership habits. Well, we're all people of creatures of habit. Meanwhile, you're trying to sell this to networks and advertisers and whatnot. So I hope it works. I've always said it would work if you had the right amount of money and the amount of patience to stay with it. I watched the the Arena League. I watched that for years when it went into the summertime. I thought it was pretty good, but
they did when they did have the old USFL, they did have big money, and it still didn't work out, Robert. But even though I thought the USFL was not that far behind the NFL back in those days when they had the Steve Youngs and the Jim Kellys and that, I thought it was a pretty good product, and even they had a problem staying alive. They ended up folding up. So good luck to them guys. Trying to do that. It's a hard thing. So Robert, let's go to your fantasy football. Make some people some money here.
Okay, yeah. Listen, this is all matchup stuff. This is all about the matchup. This is a daily fantasy. I like to say that. I've got Baker Mayfield, Jacksonville's defense, around 30th against the pass here. So I actually took Mayfield. He's a very cheap player here on this Capital League here. Bijan Robertson got a little trouble last week, but you know what? I think that he'll bounce back. He was sick last week, and Atlanta didn't dispose it. They got a big fine for it. That's a different story, but I like him against Indianapolis today. I'm out of Nashville. Tajay Spears, Seattle coming east. This guy is very explosive young player here. It's for a good price here, 4,700. Now, Mike Evans, I've got he's the lead receiver there for Tampa. DK Metcalf against Tennessee secondary. They're about 32nd against the pass. Garrett Wilson against Washington. They're down there as well. Against the pass, David Njoku going against Houston. He's the Cleveland tight end. And flex player Jake Ferguson from Dallas. And I took the Buccaneers defense going against a banged up who I think is going to play today. Trevor Lawrence.
Okay. Yeah, he is playing. You want to understand.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jim.
It's all about the matchups. Those aren't the best games, but they're the best fantasy matchup games.
Gotcha. So, folks, check out Robert Butler, Sports Scope, everywhere. That's Sports Scope with a K. Follows the big stories, has his fantasy football pick. He also does his picks on his show. Check him out. I don't know how well are you doing on your picks this year, Robert?
Yeah, I'm about 55-60%. I mean, it's hard to bat 1,000, man. I mean, you can think you got everything figured out, and you got a special team play, last minute defensive issue. So it is what it is.
I feel your pain.
Yes. Yes,
it's not exactly.
Jim's still struggling to understand the rules that Mac has laid out last couple of years.
I am setting you guys up. I'm doing my 1-15 season now. I'm coming back strong next year.
He can't marry being a player versus actually watching the game, basically, is what y'all are saying.
Yes.
Well, okay. I didn't gamble on games, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. And I hope you still don't, Jim.
So,
Robert, thanks again.
Yeah,
Robert, thanks again. Merry Christmas, Robert. Have a good one, my friend.
Yeah,
you
Merry
guys are all
Christmas
on the dirty, naughty list except for Robert.
No, I ain't perfect, guys. I'm not perfect.
Naughty list. Oh,
yeah, you were late.
Yeah, you were late. Anyway, Robert, have a good one, my friend.
Have a good show, folks. Thanks for having me.
Bye.
Sonia, you don't realize Mac and myself attempted to help Jim with his picks. Two things. Mac offered Jim a bye one week, to regroup. Jim turned the buy down, and we offered him Byron Williams to help him with the picks, and Byron said Jim just doesn't want to listen to him.
And he probably, even if you guys did give him the buy, he probably would have lost that as well. So
Wow.
There you go.
Wow.
That's what you get for putting me on the naughty list, Jim.
Interesting. David Padilla asks, do you see the NFL changing the referee training in the coming years? They have been making some horrible calls this year. Listen, David, I don't think it's any different than before. They've always made terrible calls, especially when they go against your team. And I think it's been that way since football really has started. It just magnified more. You can see the plays in slow motion. You can see the close-up of where their foot's touch on the sidelines, if they're in, if they're out, if the hand goes down the same time the foot goes in. I mean, today it's almost impossible to compete with the technology. They're going to have to start maybe using that technology. I don't want to see them stop games because of penalties, maybe on the most important. But then what's important? I don't know. I don't think there is an answer, to be honest with you. Jim, I don't know if you agree with me or not. I mean, you can't stop the game every penalty. And I listen, I don't feel bad for the NFL's refs. I do feel that they should have them full time. And maybe that would help more. But how can you compete against a machine that can slow it down to freeze frame and have a close-up of a foot and a hand? I don't know how you do that.
And I agree that what you said. I think they need full-time refs, but they have to utilize the technology because there's a lot of things that the human eye can't see at a split second. You try to do it to the best of your abilities, but there's some difficulties in there, and you have the technology that can help you.
Yeah, it's true.
I always say the replay to me it takes so much fun out of the game. Like I just remember, like, okay, if you saw it, you saw it. And I'm not saying they should remove replay like completely, but just every single detail. It's just like, are we literally in the era where everything is computerized? We cannot use human deduction anymore without some type of AI or technology interference. And for me, when you're like replaying, I watched one game, I can't remember who it was. I mean, they replayed, it felt like every few minutes there was a replay and a challenge. And I was like, man, this game is stretched out another 1 to 2 hours just because of the replays. And for me, it just takes the fun out of the game.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Jack, Jack, let me ask you, we watched the game, and Jim and Sonia too, but we watched the game without all this replay. And if it normally evens out by the end of the year. They make bad calls, they make good. It normally evens out. There's nobody. Even with betting today, I really don't think. I mean, they could fix a game with a ref, but I don't think that's the intent at all. I think that they do what the NFL says. Well, you're going to call holding this week, so they call holding more this week.
I agree.
And they do that, and they do what the NFL tells them to do. So the replay, do you think maybe we should just get rid of it and let them call a game again?
No, I think we have to be more consistent with the rules. Like a few years back, for example, in the NFC Championship game between the Rams and the Saints, the Ram cornerback committed blatant pass interference, but it wasn't reviewable. So the Rams wind up winning the game that the Saints should have won. Rams go to the Super Bowl. I mean, something like that drives you crazy. Everything's either got to be reviewable or not. Also, does a penalty, should it only be called when it affects the play? I don't want to see a flag on the other side of the field and someone having a big gain and it being called back if it didn't affect the play, that penalty.
I think that's a great point. Who cares if they're holding the receiver? They're not throwing the ball to the receiver, right?
Right.
I mean,
on the other side of the field. I mean, who cares at that point?
That kind of makes sense.
We have all of these bad plays that literally are game costers. And a lot of people could say, hey, well, they should have played the game better and not, let the game hinge on that specific play. But like I can think about the Dez Bryant catch that was controversial and then was later ruled, oh, yeah, he did have the catch. But guess what? They're no longer in the playoffs. And then the Jericho Cotchery catch from the Super Bowl with the Panthers, and it was later ruled a catch. And that changed the trajectory of that game, and we ended up losing the Super Bowl. And then, like Jack mentioned, the Rams and Saints game that they all but was sending around a petition through the league to get people to sign. And they put signs up down here in Atlanta that said basically they should have been here. in the Super Bowl. Like they just were not letting that go. And so my thing is, in crucial situations like that, yes, I agree that it should be heavily scrutinized when it's like that. But again, if the team plays the way they should and it's not hinging on that specific play, it's all those ifs and whats and shoulda, coulda, woulda. But
Sonia, it's open to interpretation as any call is. I just saw the play last night. The guy ran right through the Pittsburgh Steeler offender. He tackled him. The ball wasn't there. It hit him in the back. I mean, that's blatant, and they don't call it. And that's what maybe Jim is saying, more consistency. And Jack is saying maybe we don't. Who cares about the holding on the other side of the field? And I agree. You can't review every play because it slows down a game. It takes some momentum away from the team that's moving the ball. And to me, listen, I think they should just get rid of it and just play the game. It would speed the game up. Well, it might tick some fans off. So what? So it's going to take
you. What is the biggest thing in pro sports right now?
Betting.
Gambling. We're doing spreads. And those differences, they make differences in games. Those missed calls make differences. That's what's happening. The gamblers are saying, wait a minute, I just lost points or I just lost money on it.
I agree. But again, I think that would take care of itself, Jim, in the end. I don't know. But I don't know. I just know the way it's going right now is not a good quality product that they're putting on the field as far as all these penalties go, and that's a shame. So, guys, let's get to our picks. I don't know if Pags. I know Pags is going to see the Eagles get beat by the Giants today, so maybe he doesn't want to stick his head in here today. Let's see what happens.
Someone put in the chat that he's at Big Dom's house.
He could be. Maybe Dom would be allowed on the Giants sideline because he was banned from every home game. So maybe he could be on the sideline for the away games. Who knows? I don't know how it works.
I can't answer.
Let's get to the picks. I'll give you mine first. I'm going all North Division teams this week. I got Detroit minus 3.5, Green Bay minus 4.5, Chicago minus 4, and I'll give you my underdog pick later. Jack, who do you got again?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they're favored by something like 12 points. I'm approximate, Mac. I know you sent the point difference. I'm not going to argue with you over half point. I'll look at what you put down. They should be able to beat the Giants very, very decisively. If they can't beat this Giant team decisively at home, what does it say about the Eagles going forward? 3 losses in a row. They're going to come out to win this game big. I like the Seahawks at Tennessee. Giving 3, winning there. The Seahawks really have a good team. Their record is deceiving at 7-7. They're going to make a serious playoff run before it's over. And the last game's a little shaky, but they're not a lot of good teams to pick from. But I'm going to take Denver and give something like 7. They're at home against New England. New England will have their hands full going to place like, in that high altitude at Denver and keeping things close because New England doesn't have a very good team. And I think that blow up with Sean Payton and Russell Wilson could actually work in the Broncos' favor short term.
Okay, so you got Philly, Seattle, and Denver, Jack?
Yeah.
Denver, okay. I'll give you producer Linda's picks real quick. She has Green Bay, Cleveland, and Chicago for her favorite picks. So, Jim, what do you got?
I have Denver over New England as one of my picks. I have Green Bay over the Panthers for another one of my picks. And then my last pick is Chicago over Arizona.
All right. You got at least 2 out of 3 there, buddy boy. Good job. All right, who do you got?
Why does Jim should be going first? He gets to follow what we give and use our picks to get back.
Whatever.
That should be it. The guy the person with the worst record should be going first.
You think he's copying? He's writing down notes as we're talking.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So Jim, let me get this straight because Jack's talking again. I can't concentrate when he's talking. You got Denver, Green Bay, and who else?
Denver, Green Bay, and Chicago.
All right, Chicago. That's what I thought. Sonia, what do you got for picks?
All right, so I have Atlanta as the 1-point favorite over the Colts. The defense is playing better. Taylor Heineke is in this week. Bijan Robinson is going to play well with Heineke he has in the past. Hopefully he's feeling much better than he was a few weeks ago when they got that penalty. And so I got Atlanta on that one. I also have Seattle. Seattle's been red hot, especially after their win over Philadelphia. Levis is playing injured, and
no, they're starting Tannehill. Levis is not playing.
Sonia, I won't say they're red hot. They won last week.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I meant to say Levis is not going to be playing because he's injured, and so Tannehill is back. But I'm thinking that Locke is going to continue to hold it down unless Geno comes back, because I know they were
Geno
talking
is coming back.
Oh, there you go. There you go. So Geno's been out for a little bit. I looked yesterday and did not see that notification. So thanks, y'all. So now that Geno's back, red hot smoking Geno. And my third pick is going to be, hold on. I'm going to do at least a little red hot for Christmas.
You're calling an audible on your picks now, all of a sudden.
So my third pick is my third is gonna be Denver over New England.
Okay. Wait on your underdog. Wait on your underdog.
No, I'm not
here comes the Philly sports. Here comes Pags in just in time to put his picks.
Oh my God!
How we doing, Pags? You see, we just saw Sonia in your living room, Pags. To let you know, I don't know how she got there. She's in the car. I don't know what you guys are doing. So, go ahead, Pags.
Hey, listen. They always love to come see the big dog.
No.
So happy shopping day. Today is my shopping day. I do all my Christmas shopping in one day. It used to be such a guy thing to do, but now women have ruined it. So now it's like everybody goes shopping on Christmas Eve, and it used to be it used to be awesome with just guys.
Amazon a lot.
Send your letters to the Philly Sports Guy. Check out his Facebook page. Any comments for that last remark he said? Just send it to him. We had nothing to do with it.
Exactly. Right. And they know they have. They know they've ruined it.
Okay.
They know they've ruined Christmas Eve for me. So
Pags, before we get to the Eagles Giants game, let me get your picks, if you would, so I can get on with the skit.
Am I able to pick tomorrow's games too?
What do you mean tomorrow's game? Monday?
Is it just today's games or tomorrow's games?
No, you could do Monday night. Or Monday.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I wanted to make sure so that I didn't. I like. Who do I like? Like I should have looked at these. I like the Lions. I think the Lions smoked the Vikings. I think the Jags. The Jags crushed the Bucks. And then
the Jags is an underdog. Pags, give us two more favorites.
Oh, I got him as 1 point.
Yeah, I have him as a favorite. So I'm sorry if that's the underdog pick. I don't want him.
Hold on.
I'm sorry. I know these lines. I don't have the email.
They were +1 because they didn't know whether Trevor Lawrence was playing or not. That's why they were underdogs.
All right. So then
Max sets the point spread on Tuesday before the game. Something like that.
I know, and I only see the line now instead of read his email. Okay, then it's I guess I'll have to take. Damn, I don't want to take them either. I'll take the Seahawks.
Okay.
And as much as I hate to have to do this because I think this game stinks, I'll take the Jets.
Ooh. All right. So, as you know, folks, every week we do our special picks. And there he is. Let's go ahead and throw it up because there's no need to fear.
The dog is here. When criminals in this world appear and break the laws that they should fear and frighten all who see or hear, the cry goes up both far and near for underdog. Underdog.
That's right. We give you our dogs too. We don't just give you our favorites, and this is always the spreads, folks, you can have a lot of people that are going to come out and just to pick the games. We don't do that. We give you the spreads, and we beat the spreads every week. All of us, except for one, I'm not mentioning who he is above 500. We're at least at 55, 60%.
I'm 35, 24, and 1 on the year.
All right, so there you go. See, that's Jack's leading right now, and he always picks my team, so I can't catch up to him. So
How
let's
much
go with
money
the
have you
underdog.
Jack? None.
Say again.
I asked
Okay,
Jack
so
he's won.
I have like
So
37
anyway,
wins, but since I haven't picked every week, I don't get counted in the spread.
Yours are unofficial, and I'm a little bit alarmed by your picks this week because one of my picks was the Eagles as a favorite, and you didn't pick them. I'm kind of nervous now. If you didn't even pick the Eagles as one of your big three, I'm worried.
I wouldn't worry about it. The Eagles will win this game, but it's the first. So listen, we haven't had a chance to talk about it. Are we going to talk about it now? We're going to do the underdog picks.
We're going to do the underdog. Jack likes to veer off. You know how Jack is. He just likes
I
to veer off
understand.
So I'm going to take the Jags since that was the underdog, and Trevor Lawrence wasn't supposed to play, but now he's playing. So I got the Jags as my underdog. Producer Linda has Indianapolis as her underdog. Jack, is Baltimore still your underdog?
Yeah, Baltimore's my underdog. I think they could go toe-to-toe with the 49ers. I wouldn't be surprised at this point if that's a preview of the Super Bowl. I mean, the Super Bowl would turn out maybe a bit different, but the Ravens are playing really, really well. I mean, they're going to go into San Francisco and give the 49ers all they can handle. If the Niners do win the game, it's going to come down to the wire.
All right, so
I think the Ravens are going to win the game outright. I'm picking them to win Baltimore outright.
Well, so if they don't win, that's a loss then, right? Because
no. I'm taking them with the point.
No. Listen, Jack. I'm taking you at your word. You just said Baltimore was winning the game, right, Jim? Did he say that, Jim? Am I hearing things?
But I got the points as my insurance.
All right,
policy.
okay. I'm just saying, I know there'll be a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
I think they'll win without the points.
Jim,
but if they
who's
win
your
with
underdog?
the points, I'm taking
My
credit
underdog
to
pick
win.
is Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay. All right.
Yes.
Tampa Bay
I just
as
think
Jim's
Jackson-
underdog. Sonia, who's your underdog?
My underdog is Tampa Bay too. I was trying to look for my notes on why, but just know Tampa Bay is my underdog pick.
Well, we'll just say it's the color of the uniforms and the helmets. What do you got, Pags, for your underdog?
The Arizona Cardinals.
All right. Arizona.
Matt, Tampa Bay's favored according to your odds. So how can Tampa Bay be an
Jim,
underdog?
did you do that again? Jim,
No,
Jim, did
I'm
you do
looking
that?
at it right here. They started off at 1.5 for Jacksonville, but I can pick somebody else.
No, wait a minute. You are correct. Tampa Bay is the underdog. Jack. No,
Thank
Tampa
you.
Bay is
I
the
pointed
favorite.
it out. I threw
By
the red
Tampa
flag
Bay's the
on
favorite?
Sonia and it got overturned. She's got to have
That's right.
another
That's
pick.
Okay, I'm picking Indianapolis over Atlanta.
Thank you. There you go. So, Jim.
All right, so I got to get another pick too.
Yes.
Hold on.
because we can't go with the normal lines.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, y'all.
Listen, I send the email out.
Hey, listen, anybody who watches the
For
show,
everybody
don't go
to
by
look at-
our picks.
Everybody.
Don't go
Listen,
by
I'm new to this. I'm just learning how to do point spreads. Let me let you guys know.
Everybody, listen.
I
I'm going
have
to say
all
this for
these
the last
notes
time.
on what a point spread
I'm
is.
going to
Look,
say
guys.
this. I'm going to say this for the last time. You're muted too now, Sonia, because you're talking over me right now. So this is what I do every week. After I get the lines on Tuesday, I email it out to you guys. That is the spread. People bet on the spreads every day of the week. They don't just wait to the last minute like you, Pags. And I don't care about all your notes or not, Sonia. The point is, you had the email. You got to make your picks off the email. If not, don't pick. All right? Okay. I'll come back on now. Thank you.
So then here's
There
the
you go.
thing. If
How
we're
y'all
going to do
doing?
that, we should have our show on Tuesday.
You can have your show on Tuesday. You can have your show.
I have so much
Okay,
respect
and we'll
for you,
all
Matt.
be-
You would have made a great coach dealing with this group, all their excuses. You laid the format out. and they don't want to follow it. None of them.
And listen, I still have the best record amongst all of you guys, so I don't want to hear it.
It's unofficial, your record, whatever you've
Yeah,
done.
it's always unofficial because you guys don't like the fact that I'm in the lead.
It doesn't mean anything.
Pags, then you should have made it to every show, Pags. That's your own fault. Don't blame us.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, there are days when I'm out in LA and I can't make it because you got having the show at 5 o'clock in the morning. And listen, it's okay. It's all right.
Pags, are you happy that you're traveling around the country watching all those games?
Yeah, listen, I'm still waiting for my check. I'm waiting to get renewed on this show.
Okay, well, it's in the mail. Okay. So anyway, so we all got our underdog picks in, and we should have Jetman should be jumping in here in a minute. Oh, you
I
want
don't
to do
have
your
an
underdog
pick.
You don't
I
have
was
an
just
underdog?
waiting.
Well, then you get. Then it's.
I was
oh,
waiting
you
to
have one?
speak.
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead, Sonia. What's your underdog?
Could I just pick Jacksonville, please?
Yes, you can.
Thank you.
Okay.
So you switched from Tampa to Jacksonville.
What? Yes.
You went from
I
Tampa to
am.
Jacksonville.
Tim is wearing off on you, Sonia.
Yes, it is.
I just
It
want to
is.
speak and so I don't get muted again because I got in trouble for being late and now I'm quiet. So
Sonia, everyone has been muted once on this show. Don't worry about it. You
Some of us more than once.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Very true.
Mac, I think
So-
you have to express with Pags the big story in football. Big Dom being banned. I think.
Well, we're not going
if the
to talk about
Eagles
that. We're
go
going to
to
talk
the Super
about.
Bowl, that's the turning point. The NFL banning
We're
them.
going to talk. We're going to
Terrible
talk about
injustice.
first. We're going to talk first about the Eagles Giants matchup. Let Pags go. Pags, if you're the Giants coaches, how do you get them ready to beat your Eagles?
I don't think you have to do much. I'll be honest. It's the Giants Eagles rivalry is actually like third on of all the NFL rivalries behind like Eagles Dallas and then I think like the Bears Lions. Or Bears Packers, one of those. It kind of speaks for itself. So I feel like I've always felt that the Eagles season doesn't even begin until we play the Giants. And I've said that for years. Like I know that the fact that it's playing so late in the season really does suck. And I think that it's going to be a tough game today. I think 13.5 points is too many points for this game, which is the reason why I didn't pick the Eagles. I think the Eagles win this game. I'm watching all of the pundits say that the Eagles are going to smoke this team, and I think it's going to be a much closer game. I think it's going to be a 10-point game. I don't think it's going to be 13. Like I think at 10 points is the going away points. Like we just put it out of reach for them. But I think it's going to be a tough game on Monday night. And ultimately the Eagles will win, but it's, and it's going to set the table for us against the Cardinals and then against the Giants again, and then going into the playoffs.
I think the Eagles have got to run the ball against that Giant defense. And believe it or not, the big cat there with Williams out, the Giants running defense has kind of not played as well as when he was there. So I think they're primed and ready to be run against. And I don't know why the Eagles have not been running the ball more. It seemed like they did a little bit more last week. And and again, Jalen Hurts has got to be patient. He's got to stop trying to throw a touchdown every time that he's at the end of the game. He could have checked down and kicked the field goal, and you guys would have went to overtime instead of trying to go for it all in that pass. And basically, he threw almost into double coverage. He threw a air ball that the safety Jordan Love was able to intercept. So I think if he's more patient and that they can win the game by running the ball. And I think that's what the Eagles should do. And I think they'll have no problem beating the Giants today. So, Jetman, the link was sent to you early in the morning.
Who cares? What was Jetman when we needed him? Now at the end of the season, playing out the spring and you're having him on? Is this just to take a dig at me?
He wrote a very controversial post for him. You know how all year he wanted Aaron Rodgers, all he talked about. And now he's kind of changing his tune at the end of the year, saying maybe it was a mistake to get Aaron Rodgers with the offensive coordinator and all the the receivers that went along with him, the money they paid for him, the draft choice they gave up for him. Maybe it wasn't worth it to bring on Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they should have got another quarterback. So that's what the post was. If you can, the link, like I said, was sent early. Jetman, you were with everybody else that's here right now, so I know you got the link. So check again. Maybe it's in spam. I don't know. So what do you think about that, Jim? Do you think maybe it was a mistake to bring Aaron Rodgers in the end?
Rodgers, they were just taking a chance. And regardless, you taking a chance on a 39-year-old, there's always going to be, unless it's Tom Brady, very few players play at that age and play successfully. And they thought they were going to have the success that Tampa Bay would. Unfortunately, he got injured, so we'll never know.
Yeah.
You know, what were their choices, Mac? They could have signed maybe Derek Carr perhaps. That wouldn't have worked out.
Jack, you're too emotional. It's your team. You're too emotional. Sonia, what do you think? Do you think it was a mistake to bring him on in the end?
I wouldn't say a mistake. I just don't think he was equally matched for that organization, to be honest. I think Aaron Rodgers in another organization, perhaps he would not have gotten injured. And I just never kind of bought into him going to the Jets to begin with. The Jets, they've just had their own issues already. And I just think him going to that organization was not an end all be all to solve the issues that they already had. And I think it just compounded him being there. They broke the bank to get him there. He's now out for the season and likely will not play the same. Even when he's brought back next year, he will not be the Aaron Rodgers we knew him to be back in Green Bay.
He got hurt. And you're questioning the move. He got injured.
Bags, what are your thoughts on this? I don't want to hear Jack's thoughts on this. It'd be like, here are my thoughts on my team. What are your thoughts on this right now? You have an old quarterback now that's on your team who hasn't played now, will be a couple years. He's got that injury problem. He's never going to be the same again. I don't care what they say. His leg will never be the same again. And you're looking at a Jets defense that maybe, was wasted the last 2 years. What do you think? What do you think the answer is for the Jets? Do you think they should push on from Rodgers, the offensive coordinator, JM, clean house again? Or you think that's just doing the same thing over and over again?
So you're asking what my thoughts are?
Yes.
It's such a snore fest with this whole thing. Hey, listen, we're gonna find out next year. Let it go until next year. You're gonna run it back. Yeah. Let him run it back. That's the end of it. You know what I mean? It's like all this stuff. You could say whatever you want. Oh, we shouldn't have done it. We should have done it. Blah blah blah. Truth of the matter is, you know what? Next year, we're going to find out. And if in 4 plays he winds up hurting his other Achilles or doing something that he's out for the rest of the season, you'll say, well, that was a bust. Or he could bring him all the way to the AFC Championship game.
I mean, you got to think about a year ago. This organization was already in limbo because Woody Johnson was getting restless with the owner and the general manager of the team anyway, and that's why I made a mention about it was already a fiasco when they got Aaron Rodgers. They go to the whole Hard Knocks thing and the hypeness around that. But in the end, it's the same.
Guys, we got to look at value of a franchise.
The most interesting thing to me, Jack. And Jack, I think, froze up because he's so upset.
No.
The most interesting thing to me is that the Jets are going to have a worse record than they did last year without Aaron Rodgers and having Zach Wilson and whoever else was over there. That's the most interesting thing to me about this whole thing.
The question is, to me, listen, you're a Jets fan. If the Jets continue to lose, if they lose to the Commanders, they would fall into the 4th slot, the 4th overall pick in the draft. Okay? And the options are a lot better if you go 4th as opposed to, let's say, 6th to 7th.
I don't see a difference between 4th and 6th and 7th, but that's okay. Whatever. I mean, top 15, top 32 draft picks, depending on why you're drafting.
Maybe in range to get Marvin Harrison, with your pick.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Who knows? That's what they need, another receiver. They Anyway, let's get to our picks. We should have
I don't know. I think they need an offensive line.
Man Cave should be coming. There you go. Anyway, yeah, especially if they don't have a quarterback that can run with the football. They don't have that right now with Aaron Rodgers. So let's start going with our picks, and hopefully the guy for the Man Cave comes in here and real quick. There's Jetman, 100%. Keeping the circus going after he got hurt. I wasn't in a link email, but wish you guys Merry Christmas. You were on the link to the email, Jetman. I'm not going to tell you again. Your name is Jetman.
I don't know. I'm beginning to believe that Jetman may not have been on the email. Hold on, let me check. I'm going to do a confirmation.
Yeah, you can look on the email and see who all was on.
Hold on. Jack, Jim, All Things Football, Keith, Robert, me, which is me, Tamar, and the Man Cave at Yahoo. I don't see a Jetman on there.
So what was that?
Jetman is vindicated.
What was the second? What was the second last name you said?
Jack, Jim, and All Things Football.
Jetman was right.
Jetman was right. You got to give it to him.
Was right.
The second
Tamar?
last name on that email, that's his name.
It's Tamar.
That's his real name. That's his real name. Yeah. So anyway, Tamar. Right? Anyway, Tamar, that is your name. You were on the link. So let's get to our picks. Enough with the Jetman. The Jets stink anyway. So anyway, let's get on with the teams here. So we pretty much all of us had something to do with Indianapolis and Atlanta.
Jeterian.
There you go. Whatever. Yeah. Whatever. I don't know. But anyway, maybe I'm emailing you the real Jetman or Jetman that's at the games. I don't know. But anyway, that's what driving them nuts. Anyway, Indianapolis at Atlanta. Again, most of us picked this game one way or another. Most of us took Indianapolis. A couple took Atlanta. I like the way the Colts are playing right now. I don't like the way Atlanta plays. They're too up and down. That's why I took the Indianapolis Colts. So here's Big Mike from the Man Cave. At least he shows up, Jetman. He's in his car just like Sonia. I think they're in the same parking lot right now. There he is. There's Big Mike. How you doing, Big Mike?
Good. How about y'all?
We're doing great. Glad to have you on it. As you can see, he's from the Man Cave. That's huge on Twitter. He's on Northeast Streaming Sports with his show now. As you can see, he's a Cleveland Browns fan. And I imagine right now he's in love with Joe Flacco. I think there's a bromance going on. Is that true, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, to see this man at 38 get off his couch and come in here and say, I'm going to throw this ball over 300 yards every game. Who's not in love with this man? I mean, everybody's got to be. The whole league's got to be enamored with what he's doing.
No one's enamored. You just convinced me the Browns are falling apart.
I told you guys Joe Flacco was going to be balling, and y'all said he was an old man. So I'm with.
Jets are where the quarterbacks go to die.
God. Oh my God.
Joe Flacco.
All right, so we're all in agreement that Joe Flacco, besides throwing 3 interceptions, can throw 3 touchdowns too. I think we're all in agreement on that, right? So
yes,
is that going to work though, Mike? When you're going to go into playoffs and you got somebody like Joe Flacco who does turn the ball over a lot, and you're playing against the better teams in the playoffs?
I think he'll be okay. Again, like I said, he just got off the couch, and if he's throwing 3 interceptions now, what matters is what he did this last game. You saw he threw the 3 picks. They were down. And then he goes and throws for 212 yards in that fourth quarter and brings us back in the game and wins the game. That's what matters the most. And even at the end of the game, he even said, he goes, if it wasn't for my picks the last couple games, we would have blown teams out by double digits. So he knows what he needs to work on. He knows he needs to get, more playbook time, get in there better with the receivers, and I think we're going to be okay. Because imagine if our defense was fully healthy, and we just had Nick Chubb. We're 9-5 without all of that. Imagine.
Well, there's a
You don't
lot of-
believe that the Bears may have thrown that game to get a better pick?
No, I believe Jim Brown's ghost hit that ball out of Mahoney's hands and said the Browns need this win.
But you're going into a
Well, at least
team,
you know.
the Texans that are
Good,
playing
Jim.
pretty well. The Texans are playing pretty well, and you're going to play them at their place.
Yes.
It's gonna be good.
No CJ Stroud. Case Keenum is a very capable game manager. I truly believe that. But again, no Stroud. The defense is a little beat up. I don't know if Willie's playing or not. I know Nico supposedly is coming back. But again, I think we have the best secondary. So I think Case is going to throw some interceptions. And I also believe Garrett has a huge game. You know, he hasn't been able to get off lately. I think this is time for him to tee off, and he knows he has to be big in order for us to do what we need to do.
So the Browns, Watson started the year. I don't know if Watson is going to be a great quarterback from now on. There's definitely some kind of mental or problem with Watson. I don't know what it is. I mean, he's definitely not the same he was with the Texans. Maybe he gets together, maybe he don't. But you're talking to Flacco, who did go and win a Super Bowl, right? I mean, he does have the experience there. He will keep the team calm. I just don't think you're as good as the Ravens in that division. Cincinnati didn't look good last night, but I still think there are players. I don't think you win that division. I think you might get a wild card, and who knows when you get in there what will happen. Mike.
See, I got to disagree. Again, fully healthy. Take Watson out of it. Fully healthy. Offensive line, defense, and Nick Chubb, the main player here. Nick Chubb, I don't think those teams can beat us. I mean, the Ravens got one on us when we had DTR give his first start ever.
You could say that about any team if they're fully healthy.
You're absolutely right. We can't say that about any team that's fully healthy. We have guys walking off the parking lot going in there, and we're still winning games. That's the difference here. We're still 9-5 with fourth stringers and guys that we just said, hey, we're going to sign you off the practice squad, and you know nothing about anything. Trust me, if this was any normal season, I wouldn't be saying this about the Browns at all by any means, because this doesn't happen to us.
But with the Bills' victory yesterday, and we saw the Steelers matchup, it's kind of impossible to get, well, not impossible, but you guys might have to wait a little bit longer than you would have from the 2020 season to get back to where you are with the postseason. So I know we mentioned Joe Flacco and possibly
they cannot make the postseason today.
Exactly.
They
Even
cannot.
And I'm okay with that. I'm definitely okay with that, though. Because, again, just being able to be in that fifth spot, I'm not going to sit here and be crazy like, oh, man, we didn't get in there. The Bills barely beat the Chargers, barely beat Easton Stick. I don't think they make the playoffs. And, again, we got the Texans.
How long is Flacco signed with you guys? Is he coming back next season?
Oh, give me a break. Sonia, Flap will be lucky to have a job next year.
I have to ask.
Cut it out, please.
And are we sure that Deshaun Watson's going to be where he needs to be next year?
Hey,
They
listen,
need somebody. They need
if I'm the Browns, I sign Flacco and keep him next year, too.
I got you.
Till the
Trying to
end
do a
of the
6-year,
day. Wait till
$17
the end
million
of the
a year
day.
deal.
When you
That's what he's got.
Cleveland scored 7 points today, wait till the end of the day to comment on Flacco, please.
Okay.
Jack is upset.
Okay, so
because
as you
Flacco
see,
was the Jets, and Flacco struggled with the Jets, but every quarterback struggles with the Jets.
Yeah, he was Flacco.
That's right,
up there
because
at
the Jets only played one good game a year, and it just so happened to be this year against the Eagles when they were out partying the night before.
The Eagles got rid of Flacco very quickly. Couldn't
The
get
Jets
rid of
stay
him quick
grounded.
enough.
That's right, because
Those
he
Jets are
stunk.
grounded.
He stunk. He stinks. The only people other than Cleveland that's happy that Flacco's playing are all the Cornish hens down in Delaware.
That's right. U of D.
But he was the
all right. Well, I don't know what that. I have no idea what that means. We're talking restaurants. What are we? We're talking football. Or are we
No,
talking
the,
right now?
the Blue Cornish Hens over down in Delaware.
The Blue Hens.
Oh, yes.
Yep. University of Delaware.
Yep.
College football team. That's right. Okay, all right, I got it. It sounds like a minor league baseball team's name. But anyway.
Yeah, the Cornish Hens.
Mike, we invite all our guests. We invite all our guests to go over the picks with us at the end of the show here. We'd love to.
So Mike, real quickly, before we get into the picks. So where do you sit at the games? Are you in the dog pounds?
No.
Okay.
Usually I sit up high. I like to see the whole field. I like to see everything.
So Cleveland is one of the stadiums I have not been to yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm interested in maybe getting into the dog pound when I get over there.
All
now,
right.
I don't know if you know anything about me, but I'm a very colorful guy when I'm at the games. Do you think I will be well accepted in the dog pound?
Listen,
will bite you up.
Listen, they might light you up a little bit, but they'll love you in the same. Because again, if it's all you lively, you into the game, they like that. They just don't want that person that's gonna be rude as hell and stupid towards them all game long. But again, good sportsmanship goes a long way with any team.
All right, I just want to make sure because I've heard some stuff about the dog pound.
Don't take Big Dom with you, Pags.
Oh, Big Dom would be my protector.
Pags again. Pags at the end of the show. Pags again at the end of the show is going to make it all about his Philadelphia Philly sports bus to wherever he's going. So Pags, I see your promos. You're doing great right now. So anyway, Mike, let's get to the picks. We were just talking about the Colts in Atlanta. We're all on board either with Indianapolis or the Falcons. If you got Indianapolis getting 1 point going to Atlanta, you taking the Colts or you taking the Falcons?
No, I'm taking Mustache Mania. I'm taking the Colts.
Yep. All right, the Colts. See, there you go, Sonia. I told you. Seattle's going to Tennessee. Seattle's favored by 2.5 points against the Tennessee Titans, who still, I think Levis is still their quarterback. I still think he's out there playing.
Ryan's back.
Okay. Wow, interesting.
They benched him.
Interesting.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Yes, Tannehill's back. And Seattle, I guess Geno Smith is playing for him. So it doesn't matter how good the other players did in their substitution. They're sitting. Seattle at Tennessee. I like Seattle. What do you think, Jim?
I like Seattle too. I think this is probably going to be a real tight game, field goal.
Okay, Jack, who do you got? Who would you pick if you're picking this game?
Well, no, I already took as one of my picks the Seahawks. I feel they have a really good team, and it'll be interesting. Is that a blessing in disguise for Tennessee, having Tannehill instead of Levis at this point in time? That's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Sonia, both of these quarterbacks are coming back from injury or whatever. I would have stayed with the backup quarterbacks to let them play at least for another week to give them a chance to get rested and maybe take some snaps and stuff like that instead of holding them back in. But anyway, who would you take right now if you're taking one of these teams?
So I would take Seattle. But I will say about the backup quarterback thing, I think Levis had, he started out red hot, and then recently he's been throwing a lot of picks. One game he threw, 3 picks in that game. So it was time for Tannehill to come back. I hope he got the rest that he needs. Hopefully he can mesh with Derrick Henry again, because Derrick was starting, to get his crown tilted. I know people call him King Henry. That crown was kind of tilted and falling off. So maybe with his quarterback back, he can get back where he needs to be. And Locke, was kind of up and down. He had some good games, but there's no quarterback like Geno. So it's going to be great to see both of them back, especially right now, right before the postseason, so we can get to see what they look like after some rest and recuperation.
So Pags, what Sonia's saying is that Levis is playing like Tannehill did, throwing 3 interceptions a game when it mattered the most. Pags, what do you think? Do you think they should have went with Locke, or Geno? Is Geno the answer?
After watching Locke play, Locke played for 2 minutes You know, his team kept him in it for till 2 minutes left in the game, and he had a great 2 minutes of the game. 92-yard drive, had 3 great throws, and ultimately got the win from that. I'll be honest, I like Tennessee in this game for a lot of reasons. Seattle might win it, but if they do, it will be in the last second by a 1-point victory. So I got Tennessee going against all you guys, since usually I'm right and you guys are wrong all the time. But I like Tennessee here. I think that Geno's going to be very rusty.
The one thing everyone's forgot to mention is the Tennessee defense is probably better than Seattle Seahawks defense, especially with the problems they're having there with their safety. They're having, whatever, he's going crazy over there. I think Tennessee's defense is better. What do you think, Mike? What do you think?
Listen, my thing is a West Coast team traveling east is always difficult. It's always difficult when they do that. But Seattle's got that small chance of maybe making the playoffs, I think, still. So I think they perform what they need to do to get the job done. And I do hate that Tennessee decides to put Tannehill back in. You know Will Levis is your quarterback. Let him play this out. Who cares how good he's doing or what he's doing out? Let him play that out. Get that out of his system now. But I'm going to Seattle something to prove.
Isn't Levis hurt?
Yeah, he's got an ankle.
Okay, he's hurt. That's why he can't. That's why he's not playing. He'd be playing. He'd be playing if he wasn't hurt.
All right, let's get to some of the bigger games here that I think are bigger anyway. Of course, you got Dallas and Miami. In Miami, Dallas has not been able really to win on the road like they do at home. If it's in Dallas, I would probably take Dallas. But down there in Miami with that offense, the running game that Miami has, Dallas has got to probably do something to middle linebacker this week. They got to find a way to stop people running up the middle. And a safety isn't going to stop a good running game. They're probably going to have to move their superstar inside, I would think. I might be wrong, Jim. I think they'll move them inside to try to stop the run. I think Miami handles Dallas and maybe wins by 10 points. What do you think?
What's interesting is they're not attacking the middle, they're attacking off tackle. And that's where they have the issues, because they have smaller guys playing outside linebacker who can't get off the box. That's what's happening. And they can correct that, and they're going to have to correct that. The interesting thing about Miami, if you look at their season, yes, they're 5-1 at home, but they struggle against teams, just like they say Dallas on the road, but they struggle against teams with winning records for whatever reason. They haven't defeated a team with a winning record this year. So that's going to be interesting. And I think it's going to be a difficult game for Dallas, because if you remember, they went to Buffalo and got beat 50 or something. And but I think it's going to be a difficult game because both teams are going to be up. And a lot of it depends on what Tyreek Hill does. So he's an issue. And then Archain, the running back, is darn good.
No doubt. What do you think, Jack? Is they're going to have a pass rush? You're going to have to move, Tua off his spot. I think they're going to take their pass rushing specialist, the big game player, and put him at linebacker this week. I think they have to do that. That's going to give Tua a couple of seconds more, or half a second more, whatever he needs. And I think he's going to dice up the Dallas secondary. I really do, Jim. I don't think they're going to beat him by a lot. I just think they're going to beat him by 10 points.
I don't know. You can't overestimate the importance of Tyreek Hill's hamstring. The thing that separates Tyreek Hill from the other receivers is he's like a lightning bolt. Yeah, it's a hamstring, Jim.
It's an ankle. It's an ankle.
I thought he had
ankle
a hamstring injury. That's a difference.
He has an ankle injury.
That's a little different.
That's why he couldn't play last week, because of the cuts. He can't make the cuts.
That's a difference maker, because with the hamstring, you can't run all out at 100%. With the ankle, you can't cut, but you can run in a straight line pretty quick. But with that said, the Cowboys are coming off a very embarrassing loss. They were deeply embarrassed at the game at Buffalo. They lost by 3 touchdowns, and that made it a little closer than the game actually was. And I believe a franchise like Dallas coming off a loss like that when they were riding so high, thinking they were Super Bowl contenders, they got it all together. Jerry Jones was gloating about the team. It's going to be a focused Dallas team going to Miami with a lot of their fan base in Miami. And I think this is a game that's going to be who's the last team standing at the end, who has the ball at the end. And I think it could be Dallas winning on a field goal, something like 27-24. Two will have success, but Dallas will put points on the board as well.
Sonia, using Jim's travel method diagram, Dallas is at a disadvantage, right? They're traveling to Miami.
It's only a 1 hour difference, time difference.
Even without the 1 hour time difference, like not the bi-coastal thing, Dallas's defense is one of the an up and down. They've given up points of 10 or more, even with their victory over the Panthers. But Dallas just does not do well in traveling. I think we mentioned this before. They are 3-4 on the road, which is not too bad, not too much difference. But speaking that Miami last week, when Tyreek Hill was out and they put up 30 points against the Jets, and they didn't even miss him, and he's had that extra week to kind of rest up, even though he's a game time decision. They got they have A-Chain, and they have a plethora of weapons on that offense that as long as they keep themselves where they need to be and keep Dak off the field, Miami can get it done. I don't think it's going to be no 10-point blowout. I do think that, I can't remember if it was Pags that said whoever the last person with the ball at the end of the game is going to be the winner. That's who's going to be the winner. They're going to run it down. They're going to kick a field goal, and that's going to be the game. But I think that Miami's going to get it done today. It's not raining today, and Dak and them are up and down on the road. And I just feel like Miami's going to be the better team.
Tags, both teams are in the playoff hunt. Dallas is trying to keep pace with the Eagles. The Eagles are trying to keep pace with the Cowboys. And, of course, Buffalo is starting to come on, in their division. They're winning games, putting a little pressure on Miami. What do you think? You think Waddle, the 2 wide receivers versus the Dallas 2 defensive backs, is that going to decide the game today?
It's funny. In a bizarro world, this could be a Super Bowl preview. It's there. 2 weeks ago, you could have made the argument that these two teams could have been in line to be a Super Bowl. Obviously, they got the 49ers that they'd have to get past, and they have to get past the Chiefs or the Ravens. But realistically, this is a playoff game. It should have a playoff atmosphere. And I think that when you get into those types of situations, Dallas is going to have a little bit more going for them than Miami will. I think that just because they have some experience at those types of games, that Dallas is going to show up a little bit more. Now, I also think that has to do with a little bit of embarrassment that they had last week. So I think it's going to be a tough game. I think this is going to be a beat 'em up game. Like, you're going to see some hard hits on both sides. Both teams are going to come out a little bruised. But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Cowboys come out with the win. But I still like Miami because I still think that if they go too deep, with Waddle and what's his face, that they're going to beat Dallas because Dallas's cornerbacks aren't the same.
So Mike, you have 2 different quarterback styles here. You got a guy that sets, he throws on time, anticipation against a quarterback that will run with the ball if it's not there. He gets design runs. He may hold on to the ball longer just to get that guy open deeper. 2 different styles at quarterback. Of course, they're not as good as Joe Flacco, but we'll talk about him a little bit anyway. So, what do you think about those 2 styles there? What style is better for this type of game?
Well, it's going to be in Miami, nice weather, and I think Tua is going to have the better game out of the two. I mean, you got to think of what James Cook did against that defense last week. He's going to be able to rely on his running game, and I think they're going to have over 200 total yards this game. Them boys run. Like, they don't stop. You wind them up and let them go. And I think that'll help Tua out big time. And, again, he'll be able to scramble out and go a little bit. But it'll open up Waddle and Hill down the field. And depending on Hill's injury and how that affects him with his ankle and whether or not he can make them cuts right, that might just be a whole decoy out there. But I'm with you with the Dolphins on 10 points. I think they get this win. It's the battle of the teams that can't beat above 500 teams is what this is right here.
You know, it's a great point about the running game. Dallas running game hasn't been that good this year. Miami's running game is one of the best in the league right now. Great point on that, Mike. Let's go to the biggest, probably the biggest game, and everybody expects this might be the Super Bowl, except for Eagle fans, of course. Baltimore
Eagles,
against
Giants.
Yes. So Baltimore against of course, against San Francisco. Jim, you know, I don't know who is the better team right now. San Francisco's playing at home. That's all I need. Baltimore's on the travel chart, has got to go to San Francisco, as you say. So, you know, with the travel, with home field advantage, I would take the 49ers.
I think the 49ers have the advantage, but it's hard to bet against Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is probably one of the most dynamic players in the NFL right now. You can say what you want. He just wins. He's playing he is difficult. With the 49ers, they lose both their defensive tackles. Kinlaw and Armstead are injured, and Armstead is not playing. I think that the Ravens are going to make this a tougher game. If they don't win, it's going to be really close. I don't think they're going to do the things against John Harbaugh is under the radar, but he does a nice job getting those guys ready to play.
Year after year.
Yep. So I think it's going to be a really good game.
Jim says you don't bet against Lamar Jackson. During the playoffs, I will bet against Lamar Jackson every time. So, with that being said, and I know you like Baltimore this week with the points. You think they beat the 49ers?
I think they're actually gonna upset the 49ers today. And that's gonna really smart if you're an Eagle fan, because that would have been the opening to get the bye, you know, to get the best overall
and
record.
the fascinating thing about this game,
get.
These are two of the best linebacker crews in the NFL. Did you ever notice that? These are how linebackers are supposed to play.
Smith and Warner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And these are two MVP candidates. So
Sonia, give me Deebo Samuels and McCaffrey all day. I'm going the 49ers. What do you think?
I'm definitely on that train with you. I feel like this matchup is not only a potential Super Bowl preview, like we may see these two again, but it's also the two MVP candidates for quarterback, MVQ positions. We got Lamar, who basically bartered his own salary and his own, contract with the league without paying an agent. So you got to respect that. Now he's trying to sell himself to everybody that, hey, I'm worth it. This is why I bet on myself. And when you bet on yourself, that's all the encouragement you need. However, when you got arsenals like McCaffrey, Deebo Samuels, Pacheco, like that entire Kyle Shanahan crew out there, they want it. They're on the quest for 6. They've come close so many other times. And I think this is the year that they really solidify that chance and try to get on back up into the NFC Championship. And
so we don't talk about George Kittle, one of the great tight ends.
Jack, you had your chance. So Pags, we didn't know that Pacheco was traded to the 49ers. That happened last night. Almost on top of that. So, Pags, what do you think? I mean, is every team that plays the 49ers the following week, they're beat up. People are hurt. They lose the next game. Baltimore's going to come to play them with everything they got. 49ers is a very physical game. Who do you like?
I hope my bad. Wrong there.
I think that this is going to be a bruiser game. Yeah, more than what I think with Miami Dallas. I think that you're going to see Purdy get smacked in the mouth very early in this game, and it's going to change the game on how he plays the rest of the game. I think Lamar Jackson. So I wonder, because Lamar Jackson's going to run a little bit more, and the 49ers have been the referees have kept the flags in the pockets when the 49ers have taken some liberties on the sidelines. So I wonder if that's going to be the case again today, because if they're going to be hitting them with, like, when they're already a step out of bounds, like, I think that the referees could play a very big part today, because the 49ers have been getting away with murder, and I don't believe that they should be. So I think that you're going to watch a very officiated game, more so than you have lately in 49ers games.
Big
and
Dom
I think
was
that that's going to play a
suspended.
big part.
Big Dom was suspended because
I
he
agree
dirty
with
play with the Niners.
Exactly.
Pags, I agree with that. I think they're going to have to keep a tight lid on that game. They're going to call it tight in the beginning. I don't know about the end. Mike, what do you think? They let them play at the end, and most of these games, and this is like a playoff game, and if a referee decides who wins this, there's going to be hell to pay for whatever side it goes against. So, Mike, who do you like and why?
I'm going to take the 49ers in a close one. It's in Levi, and to be honest, I think this game plays right into Purdy's hands. You got CMC, the check downs. Deebo Samuels a couple weeks ago, he took a couple 5-yard passes and went to the house with it. And once you get past them linebackers of Baltimore, I think it's free reign. I think Deebo can burn them. Ayuk is out there running wild, but I think Kittle has the biggest game of them all. That'll be the safety blanket this game for Purdy. And
But
again,
Mike,
the MV.
All right.
All I was going to say is they play Mark Andrews every day in practice.
Hey,
and Mark Andrews is just as good as
Mark Andrews ain't playing though, and he haven't played Mark Andrews in a while.
He's getting better. He's
Well,
on
guys, let's we're going to sign off here. It's the top of the hour. I want to thank Mike for coming in. Jetman, we'll get you in here again. Everybody, I love that you joined us for the show, Christmas Eve day. And everyone, we've got to put a little love in our hearts. It's Christmas, right? So I'm going to vote for the Eagles today. How about that, Bags? I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to do that. I'm going to root for the Eagles today. And, again, as I say every week, thanks to this group. Merry Christmas to all of you. Everybody that was listening to us, Merry Christmas. And as always, I hope your team wins.
Merry
Have a
Christmas.